Have you ever caught yourself saying, I swear I am never going to miss this? As your child sits there throwing their body all over the place during a simple temper tantrum over possibly a cookie or someone didn't give them what toy they wanted or whatever. Or possibly thought to yourself, I cannot wait until my child gets older so everything gets a lot easier. Well, if you haven't thought of something close to what I just said, or simply just don't want to admit it out loud, then I guess I'm the only one here. Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. I am your host, Angela Schultz. When my little ones were growing up and overrunning our household, I swore that I would never miss a lot of things. I mean, a lot. It felt like I was saying that kind of shit on the daily. Like, oh my God, I cannot wait. I cannot wait till they move out. I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait for that. But then my little ones started growing up, finishing high school, going on first dates, slowly turning into adults. Some of my kids are still learning to work on that whole adult thing. But then some of them move out. And a few of my little ones even started making their own little families. Then all of those, I swear I am never going to miss this moments, well, they've changed very quickly to, I cannot believe I said that. I cannot believe that I actually miss this. I'm not sure if it's because the chaos that surrounded me for so long has dwindled down to, well, almost nothing, or if it's because my adorable grandbabies are coming over and doing adorable things that happen to remind me of the old days. If I had to bank on one theory, it would be the adorable grandbabies coming over. As I watch our grandsons grow up and see their personalities flourish and all of the cute little things they're doing, even if they're sassy, in some ways I find them extremely adorable. Their parents will warn me, which I find odd, because if you want me to take your child, why are you warning me they're very sassy? But I'm like, I got this. I got it. I have so much patience. And honestly, I think their little fits are adorable. So I do have to question myself. Was I being overly dramatic when I said I would never miss any certain thing that they did? Because these adorable little boys are doing things their parents did at that age that just drove me insane. But now I see it so differently. I miss every little thing our grandsons do. Even their adorable little meltdowns that have them flopping all over our floor. I miss it all when they go back to their parents. Was I wrong in thinking I would miss things our children did at that age? I am never wrong. I clearly state that all the time. And if you are an avid listener, you will know I am always right. I don't get it. How could I be wrong? I'm not wrong. So I figured out the only way I can see myself coming up with an accurate answer to my, am I actually wrong on this? And I'm going to have to go back and reanalyze all the situations that made me truly believe that I would never miss anything in the first place. So come along with me on this journey. Maybe you can tell me your tales. I'm going to start off with tattling on siblings. Oh, I was never going to miss that. All of our children, and we had 8, all had their own unique way of tattling. It wasn't one kid whining about another. It was a group of kids against one, 99% of the time. Our kids played outside a lot when they were younger, and I wasn't always out there. We lived in the country on a dead-end road, so I let them loose, and it came with some consequences. One of them being the porch door opening up with someone yelling, "Mom!" or "Angie!" in a certain tone. I would either roll my eyes or my attitude would change depending on who was complaining and what the complaining was about. It felt like the kids were always looking for ways to tattle on each other. I swore I would never miss that. Shelby, my youngest bonus daughter, mastered the craft of tattling. She didn't actually have to tattle. The children tattled on themselves once she was done with them. All she had to do was quickly run into the house and plop her butt down next to someone or on the kitchen table. And she never said a thing. Just ran in, sat down, and acted like nothing happened. Seconds later, a group of kids would come barging into that porch door, yelling out, "Shelby's lying! I didn't do that!" Something along the lines of that. In the meantime, Shelby just sat there smiling, knowing that she didn't say a damn thing. And the other kids just got punked by her. I do have to give her credit for that one. That method of hers worked way more than it should have. I don't miss the mom, they did this, they did that. But I do miss the kids all doing something together and occasionally, very occasionally getting along. Laundry. I had to multitask as much as possible when it came to our daily life. So grabbing a basket full of clothes, throwing them into the washer, and going back to whatever else I was doing was the only way I could keep up. It didn't matter what I was washing, it all went together. I washed everything in cold water, so I really didn't care. I had so many different styles of clothes. I had the roughhousing clothes from the kids going outside. The girls, they were changing their clothes every 5 seconds. And then, obviously they were dirty if they put them on one time. And we were constantly in need of towels. We still are in constant need of towels. I have never been the sorting laundry type of woman, which in hindsight I do find strange actually. I always need to have things in order, but our family size, I would have needed more room to do that. And definitely more time. Time was something I felt like I never had enough of. Because of the way I did our laundry, I would find all kinds of surprises in our laundry. Most of them were at the bottom of the washer drum, and a few even flung out at me when I opened up that damn lid. With our children, that I considered to be feral at the time, I never knew what to expect. I would find stones, sticks, twigs, all kinds of sizes, Matchbox or Hot Wheel cars, Pokemon cards or magic cards, chapsticks, notes that were passed around in class, all kinds of pencils. And one kind of pencil I find very odd, but we have very odd children because I don't why even have them? They ended up being like maybe a half an inch of just a pencil and then eraser. Why are you saving that? Just throw it away. No, I could still write with it. It's I almost think a few of them did it on purpose. I don't know. Knives that they shouldn't have had in the first place and wasn't sure where they got them from were in there. Small tools, springs from mechanical pencils, those little paper folded footballs, Nerf gun bullets, that was almost daily. Empty shotgun shells they found and thought were so cool that they had to put them in their pockets. And on occasion, toads. You heard me correctly. My kids put toads in their pockets in hopes of having them as a pet that mom would never know about. My son Garrett was famous for that. He would tell me he forgot the toad was in his pocket. Honestly, I find that shocking. How do you forget that you have an animal in your pocket? I don't get it. Finding toads was more of a what the fuck are you thinking? What are they thinking? Especially if they flung out at me when I lifted that damn washer lid. I do know that all of that could have been avoided. I do know that if I would have just went through the pockets. But, I didn't. The sock bin. Oh, the never-ending sock bin. I truly believe that I have socks in my bin right now that are from like 10 years ago. I am always waiting for that other sock to reappear. It has happened so many times before that I've ended up like waiting a good year and all of a sudden I'd find that damn sock. I remember being surrounded by hundreds of socks and repeating to myself over and over, Angie, you are never going to miss this. You are never going to miss this. Now, currently, I have a sock from Jill that was my sister wife that she always wore. So I keep that in the bin. I have socks that are from our grandbabies, you know, they're little infant socks. I have those in our sock bins at all times. For whenever I'm sorting out socks, I need just a little reminder of why I'm doing this. Why am I sorting out all these socks? Because you know what? Life is precious. So those little reminders, they are helpful. Which makes me wonder, why did I miss that? I don't miss it now. Calls from the school. Every single weekday morning, after that bus rounded the corner and I couldn't see it anymore, I prayed to baby Jesus that I wouldn't get a phone call from the school that day. Mind you, having so many children in school made the chances of that happening higher than, average. And every time that phone rang and I saw the school's phone number pop up on my caller ID, I swore to myself I would never miss that. I'd never miss getting a phone call from any school ever again. And literally every single child of ours had at least one phone call from the school that made me question our parenting and at times the school. Like, was it really something you needed to call me for? And I also had to question our children, like, what the fuck? Can't you calm your feralness down just a little bit while you're in public? So I'm going to list here every single child we have and give you one example of a phone call that I'm talking about that I swore I would never miss. I'm going to go from birth order. Jordan, my bonus son. My only bonus son. A police officer called my husband to let him know that Jordan it was a school liaison officer, to let him know that Jordan wasn't going to be coming to our house that day when we had 50-50 custody. Jordan told the police officer that he was afraid of my husband, his father. But in reality, Jordan was in high school and he didn't like rules. He was at that, I know everything stage. Yeah, that was fun. Abigail, my oldest daughter. Mom, can you bring me a different pair of pants? Mine ripped. Now, I asked her how bad that rip was. And because honestly, I've had so many calls before that you never know. Schools exaggerate. My kids exaggerate even more. And she said it wasn't that bad, but really wanted a new pair. Thankfully, I went with my gut. Because Abigail is like me. She's kind of unusual at times. And sometimes she underestimates and sometimes she over-exaggerates. So I had to go with my gut on this one. So I decided to go to the school. Her pants were ripped from crotch to asshole and you could see everything. How in the hell did it even happen? Okay, she didn't even know how it happened. And she was going to pass it off as it's not that bad. Like, I was not going to miss that. I would never miss a phone call like that. Oh. Maxwell, my firstborn son, also baby A, because I had twins. Mrs. Schultz, your son was dared to eat a Carolina Reaper by another student and decided to take the challenge. After that, we had a few not choice words, but me and the secretary, we both had some conversation like, what the hell? Why would he even take that dare? That pepper that he was dared to eat made him puke his guts out, and I had to go and pick him up. Why did he feel the need to take that challenge on? I will never know, because he doesn't even know. And he probably would do it all over again, and now he is 20. Oh, man. Matthew, baby B, my twin, my second born son, also the very, very naughty one at the time. Matthew was taking his mechanical pencils, Mrs. Schultz, and he was taking them apart and playing around with the pieces. But before I could stop him, he managed to get one of those wire springs stuck inside his ear. Are you fucking kidding me? He was an IEP like his whole entire school career, and he had to have someone sit by him to help him with notes, because he did have he still does. His handwriting skills aren't, the greatest, hand-eye coordination and all that. So if someone's sitting right next to him, how the hell did he get that wire? How did he get the pencil apart in the first place? And how the hell did he get the wire stuck in his goddamn ear? I had taken a rosary bead from his grandma's house, out of his ear just days before. So I could only imagine, you could only imagine how frustrated and annoyed I was. I ended up having to take him to the goddamn ER room to get that damn spring out. And the whole time he thought it was funny. I did not. The ER doctor was cool enough. He made sure to let Matthew know that spring was in there real good and it's going to hurt. And I think he kind of made it hurt a little bit because he winked at me. And Matthew's like, and we did not have any springs in his ear after that, just everywhere else. Peyton, my bonus daughter, my first bonus daughter, oldest I should say. Peyton is unique. I never really got any odd phone calls from the school. Her calls were mainly just she has anxiety because she's very shy, and all that. So honestly, I have nothing to report on that one. So I do miss that. Garrett. He would have been baby A. He was a twin, but he's my third son. Mrs. Schultz, your son needs to shower. By the way, I just have to throw this out there. I got Garrett's permission on this one. Your son needs to shower when he gets home. And then she even questioned me, does he even shower? She goes, I don't want him getting picked on for being the smelly kid in class. What? All boys are stinky. I had a lot of boys, so I saw them all as stinky. I honestly didn't know what the hell she was talking about. Of course he's going to smell, but he does shower. According to the teacher, though, Garrett smelled like he had shit his pants. But when he was asked if he did, he said no. She didn't think he took showers after he said that, so she called me. Once I ended up picking up Garrett and he got into the vehicle, I could see what she was thinking. I could even think about it was bad. It was rotten. I talked to him about it, and he said that he did ask to go to the bathroom multiple times before all of this happened, but the teacher wouldn't allow him to. And he couldn't hold it in anymore, so my son sat in class taking a test, shitting himself, literally. He didn't want to embarrass himself. That sounds so bad. He didn't want to embarrass himself, so he decided to deny. I honestly think that's embarrassing either way. You smell like shit. Oh my God, that is my kid. Either way, I got a hold of the teacher through email afterwards and let her know next time my son asks if he has to go to the bathroom, let him go so he's not the stinky kid. Garrett, I love you. This one I also got permission on. Shelby, my youngest bonus daughter. Mrs. Schultz, Shelby will be suspended from school today. She needs to get picked up. She was caught pinning another girl down by the basketball hoops, purposely spitting on the girl's face and calling her a dyke. No. Not our precious Shelby. No way. I will say, we don't condone that kind of behavior at all. So she did get in trouble from us as well. However, savage. And she still is savage. Maybe even a little feral yet. Just a bit more grown, kinda. Not really. I don't know. Colton. My husband and I's only child together, our baby. His school was different, and Colton is unique. So the call was, Colton was playing outside during recess and his toes got cold. Can you bring him thicker socks? This call annoyed me. Not only was I 30 minutes away at the time at an appointment, or after it was done. I was done with the appointment. But either way, it wasn't that it wasn't even cold out. But it was the secretary that made me feel like a shit parent because I was 30 minutes away while my son's toes were cold. I ended up buying him different socks that day before I left town to go and get him. And you would never guess what happened next. I got a call about his socks the very next day. The new socks, the thicker socks. All of it ended up being something completely different. Our son is autistic. It's hard for him to make friends, and he didn't want to be alone during recess, so he would make excuses to get out of it. His toes were just fine, and his socks were just fine. And also, get some socks, and like they have underwear and clothes for the other kids and for kindergarten. Let my son have a pair of socks if you think his toes are cold. Don't be calling me for something stupid when he already had socks on. I was not neglecting him, all right? So that's done with that. I do miss those phone calls, though, because each and every single one of those phone calls was all unique, all different, all messed up. I never knew what to expect. As annoyed as I was at the time, I miss hearing odd phone calls, or getting them, I should say, because then someone would be calling me, and I'd be like, hey, I could talk to you about something, even if it's about my smelly kid or my bully kid. Just, I could be able to talk. Anyway, making food for an army. I do not miss that, I thought. No one person is the same. And I understand that. I really do, because we had 10 total in the family. And there wasn't one meal that I made that all the kids would eat without complaints. I mean, not one meal. This one, no onions. This one, no mushrooms. The list of I can't eat this grew longer and longer every day that went by. And all the tricks I thought would work, like chopping those little fuckers up real tiny, never worked. Our damn kids would pick through their food just to look and make sure there was nothing in there. They'd sit there like a little investigator. I'm surprised they didn't even have magnifying glasses, honestly. And they're like, oh, can't eat it. Eventually, I gave up, which I should have done in the first place. And I said, pick out whatever you don't want to eat and, eat the rest of it. But then I got, well, if it touched my other food, I just can't eat it. One of our kids actually tried telling me that they were allergic, as if I didn't know our children. You aren't allergic to shit. You're just as picky as fuck. Why would you even think that I would believe you on being allergic when I'm the one that takes you to the damn doctor? There was way too many opinions and not enough just eat it and shut the fuck up. I was never going to miss that ever. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other parents out there that have the same problem. And here I am now. I'm actually missing it. I can't believe I missed those daily meal battles, but I do. I miss it because we all sat down at that table most nights together and we talked, whined, laughed. But whatever was being done at that time during supper time was being done as a family. And I also want to add, I still, to this day, and our household numbers went down significantly. We only have 3 kids actually in the house now, still living with us. And I still am cooking like I am feeding an entire army of boys. So yeah, I don't miss, like, it's my husband doesn't miss that because the bill is high, at the grocery store. But I hear me out. I don't know how to do that. I do not know how to portion it. Whenever I was on the phone, no matter what time of day it was, what I was doing beforehand, or how much time I had already spent with our children, as soon as my phone rang and they saw me talking, that was the perfect time. And what seemed like the only time one of them or everyone needed something from me or had a question for me. Some even wanted to just talk to me. But then after I was off the phone, whatever they needed or wanted or just, chill out with me, all fucked off. It did not matter anymore. It was not important. And they left me alone. Phone calls felt like a magnet to all, hey, Mom. I do miss that, though. Sad, I do. Very much, actually. Because now those little kids are big kids. And all those, hey, Moms, disappeared for the most part. I would give anything to have them be little again and annoy me as I try to talk on the phone, because they would actually be near me when they're all gone now. So I miss that. Asking me questions when I'm busy. Oh, this is a big one. Our kiddos all knew that if I was in the middle of doing something, that was the prime time, the best time to ask me if they could literally do anything. And just so I could keep trucking on without any distractions, my answer was almost always yes. Did I hear what they actually were asking me 99% of the time? Nope. But by saying yes, that meant they got out of my way, allowing me to go back to whatever I was doing. And because of this method, we had a toad farm in our bathtub. I didn't realize it until I had to stop what I was doing, to go to the bathroom. Imagine my surprise when I opened up the bathroom door and had toads jumping out of our bathtub towards me and every other place. I swear the kids must have had about 50 of them caught and smuggled into our house. How I didn't see Colton and Shelby giggling as they ran in and out of the house with their arms loaded with toads, I don't know. Or how did I not hear the toads from the kitchen? I have no clue. I obviously was in my own world. I do still miss that, though, because it was a surprise. Can we play hide and seek? Now, that all seems harmless. We had a large open field in our backyard and a cornfield that was attached to it. The problem was the cornfield that they were playing hide and seek in was off of a kind of a busy county highway. One of the kids would have ran out into the highway and could have been severely hurt. And it didn't happen, but honestly, our kids were feral and it could have very much have happened. As I went to throw in the last of the wet clothes into our dryer, I heard someone yelling from outside. My first thought was, why are the kids near the cornfield? They know better than that. They know that I say no all the time, and it's not our land. And that thought was followed with, shit. Is that what the group of kids asked me when I was collecting all their dirty clothes? I quickly stopped to, see what was going on with their little fun adventures, and haven't heard the end of this to date, because the kids would be like, you remember when we were in the cornfield when we were younger and you yelled at us, or I was outside with socks on and you got mad? I never hear the end of it, because I also put all of them in the corner that day. Even Jordan, who was a teenager in high school, which is probably why he didn't want to come to our house anymore. But I put them all in the corner because of that. Because no one would tell me whose idea it was. One could say, they're mad at me to this day because I said yes and then punished him. Whatever, I don't care. All I know is I didn't realize what they were asking me. It was my fault. I get that. So, yeah. Ended up, because I said yes, we ended up with a water balloon party in our bathroom. The same two kiddos that asked me if they could start the toad farm came up to me and asked me while I was busy. They came up and asked me if they could have a water balloon fight. They never said where. I will throw that out there. Those two kiddos got the same answer. Yes. This time, it wasn't animals though, so that's good, you know? They were making water balloons in our bathtub and destroying them in our tub. Once again, I didn't hear the entire question or request. I heard, Angie, can we stay out of your way so you can make us lunch and do the dishes? I swear that's what I heard. I swear. I didn't hear, hey, Angie, can we make water balloons and smash them and throw them all over the place? I didn't hear that. But the nonstop giggling and whining about whose turn it was from our bathroom made me question what I may have actually said yes to and how much I was going to regret it. When I got to the bathroom and saw balloons everywhere, two kids soaking wet, and water everywhere, I wanted to lose it. Judging by their response as soon as they saw my face, I can only assume my face was saying everything exactly how I was feeling. But Mom, you said yes. And I knew they weren't wrong. But come on! Give this woman a break. Can we help on the horse farm? Again, I was busy, and that answer was an easy yes. I actually heard that one. It felt like the best yes of my year. Why say no to children that want to go and help the neighbor's hobby farm and actually do manual labor? It might help. It's going to help them, you're supposed to help your neighbors out and all that. So it was great. Easy yes. About an hour after I said yes to their pleas, I had supper ready, and the starving children that I normally had surrounding me with forks in hand, and we're still not in the house. Odd. Something wasn't right. And when it didn't feel right to me, it most definitely was not right. Were my kiddos actually helping on that horse farm? Hell no. Not that day, anyway. They were too busy playing King of the Mountain on a massive pile of fresh horse shit. I was busy making a meal for them, thinking they were being helpful and burning off energy. Instead, the kids were climbing the large fresh pile of shit the hobby farm had created that day and were wrestling each other to get to the top for over an hour. That easy yes I handed out that day turned into a very shitty situation. Oh, either way, I still do it. I still say yes to stupid shit, but and I don't listen really. But hear me out. I still miss that, okay? Because of all of the things that I said yes to, they were able to be country kids and do things that kids nowadays don't do. So I do miss that. Dishes. Having to do the dishes after feeding everyone was something I was never going to miss. The hassle of getting the children to rinse their plates or scrape them off after they were done was a challenge. However, the biggest challenge was our family that we had was keeping those damn dishes and utensils in the house. I was always missing something, if not everything. Then later on, I would go outside to have a cigarette and find them in our yard or in the garbage. Forks and knives would be commonly planted into our yard. I would love to say this got better as they got older, but I can't. My daughter-in-law bought us 8 plates, 8 cups, and 8 bowls for Christmas a couple years ago. because I was telling her how we're always missing stuff. We are now down to 4 plates, 0 cups, and I think 2 bowls from what she got us. There is a certain child we have, I don't want to call her out, sorry Shelby, that thinks it's easier to clean her room if she just throws it all away. Yeah, I can't wait till she gets a job and pays us back and hopefully fills our our shelves full and gives us a bunch of forks and spoons and knives. Having little helpers with the dishes, that I thought I was never going to miss. Doing the dishes is something I most likely have never going to miss, but honestly, the dishes or the helpers, all that, like, it was a mess. It was a complete mess. There was water everywhere after my little helpers, after it was all said and done. Their clothes were drenched. The dishes would be stacked all over the place. And they were also still dirty. I thought I would never miss any of that, because then I would also have to clean the floor. Now, I don't miss the amount of dishes I had every day. I do, however, miss the kids working together, arguing over who gets to wash and who gets to dry, creating that mess together. I miss that chaotic mess because it was done out of love. Toys all over the place. I'm self-diagnosed with OCD. Our house never really did have toys all over the place, no matter how many children we had. I never really let our house look like people lived there, simply because I can't handle seeing the mess. My husband actually at one point had to tell me to relax a bit and let our kids play. He told me our kids might resent me later on in life if I don't let them play. They were kids, and he was right for once, so I did relax a bit. Not too much, but enough to step on a Lego. At any size, those fuckers, excuse my language, sorry, but they're painful, especially in the middle of the night when the lights are off. Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels cars are just as bad, if not worse. Every single time I found myself stepping on any unexpected painful toy, I would tell myself, I'm so not going to miss this. Let me fast forward to now. Whenever my adorable grandsons come over, I purposely dump their toys out in the middle of the living room. I even set their little tool bench up to their likings. I pick out all of their favorite toys we have, and I let them fuck around. Toys will be everywhere and even stepped on. Our adorable grandsons even hide toys in places for me to find days after their visit. All of this I would flip a tit over when it was their parents. And now whenever those adorable babies leave our house, I sadly pick their toys up and hope they come back soon. I think it's safe to say I did change quite a bit on having toys laying around everywhere. I guess I did miss that a bit. Appointments. Any kind of appointment. My favorite pastime is definitely not sitting in a waiting room for any kind of an appointment. I hate the whole idea of making the appointment, letting the school know about the appointments, getting a school note, listening to the other kids beg for an appointment just so they can get out of school. And then they'd end up telling me it's all unfair and then following through with the appointment. Does that make me a bad mom? I honestly don't care if it does. I truly don't like going to any appointment, even for myself, period. I will never miss taking our kids to any kind of appointment, ever. To this day. I do, however, miss the after. I made mom days out of them. With having so many children in our household, all around the same age, I used those appointment days as ways to spend one-on-one time with our children. That time I got to spend with our children after an appointment, I will forever miss. Damage is done. Yeah. When you have any children, you should expect to have something go wrong at one point or another. Some things are just out of your control, I'm told. Even when you were a control freak like myself. When our children were growing up, I swore whenever something was damaged or messed up, I would never miss having to do damage control. And because, I'm going to just list off a few things that we had damages on. So here we go. I hate wax warmers for the longest time because our children, maybe it's my fault for placing the wax warmer in the wrong, bad spot. Or maybe the Nerf, football they were throwing around the house that they weren't even supposed to be throwing around the house shouldn't have gone near the damn wax warmer. Either way, trying to clean up wax that spilt all over the entertainment center, TV, and wall wasn't fun. And it will never be fun. Finding drawings on the wall with permanent markers was something that happened more often than not. We had a drawing of our family in red marker from our 2.5-year-old, I think maybe 2.5, 3, on the wall near my bedside. And he didn't have the whole family, just his favorite people. Like I said, he was 2.5, 3. It was adorable. I took a picture before we moved from that place. A stick figure man with a very large penis in black marker or pen right by the light switch in the boys' room. That was there. Yep. My son Matthew did that. Yep. I don't understand. I tried to clean it off. Didn't work. Names were written everywhere. And here's my favorite one, and it's so wrong to say that. I know it's messed up, but our youngest son has a hard time connecting with all the other kids because he's just unique. But we're all messed up and unique. But he was messing around, and he thought it would be funny to prank one of the boys. However, I cannot get it off the bathroom door. I found the message, and I accidentally laughed out loud, and I'm still laughing now. But it says, Garrett eats butt out. It's all spelled incorrectly. Now here, I don't care, if you are this or that, or I don't want to even get into all that. I don't care. The whole point is, it says Garrett eats butt out, and it's spelled wrong. It's not even a correct sentence. And it's in marker on the wall, on the freaking door of the kids' bathroom that I can't get out. So we're stuck with that, and I almost don't want to get rid of it, only because it reminds me of how everything played out. Garrett saw it, he was annoyed, and then he kind of smiled every time he saw it after. So yeah, I'm still unsure of the true culprit of this next one, but it was either Shelby or Garrett, and both of them say what their findings are. But one of them or both of them took a knife to the back of our brand new couch and sliced it straight across, right open. Not cool. Not cool. Light fixtures were never safe in our household. Any flying objects made those fixtures turn into fireworks. Literally glass everywhere. Our vehicles were never safe while we were parked in our yard. Our children rode their bikes in between our vehicles with zero fucks to give. They could hear their bikes scratching both vehicles as they went by, but they didn't care. And the biggest one, the one I shouldn't be talking about, the hookah incident. My husband and I rented a hotel room for Valentine's Day one year, a while ago, and had our oldest son Jordan watch all of the other kids. It was just one night. What could go wrong? Well, let me tell you what could go wrong. Jordan had some friends come over after we were gone, and those friends brought over a hookah. They decided, since we were gone, why not try her out in the living room, right in the middle of the living room? My husband and I came home the following morning, and as soon as I opened up our door, an instant smell it was so strong. something wasn't, it was weird and something wasn't right. And that, but Jordan was also acting a little sus. Like, he made it even worse. So now I have this weird smell that wasn't there when we left, and Jordan fidgeting kind of, and he's talking to us, and he's kind of, you could tell something wasn't right. It didn't take too long for the story to come out because we have 7 other kids tattling. Our living room carpet was never the same. The spot on our living room carpet had burnt or whatever from that hookah that him and his friends were smoking. Or I don't know how to do it. Smoking, whatever you call it. Jordan's way of fixing it, before we got home, now that's kind of interesting to say the least. He ended up going to a different room in the house, cutting a piece of carpet from that room, and attempting to superglue that piece of carpeting to the spot that was missing and burnt in the living room. Which would explain the odd smell that I noticed immediately. But why on earth would I miss any of those damages? Why? I will tell you why. They all have a story. They might not be the best story. For example, the hookah. But it's our family story. So, yes, at the moment, I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm never going to miss this. But now, any memory that is made, I will forever hold on to. Because our family has learned life is precious and you don't really know. You don't really know what's going to happen next. Bedtime at our house. Oh, yeah. We aren't and weren't rich when the children were younger. We lived in a 3-bedroom duplex for a good portion of their lives and made do with what we had. And what we had was our bedroom, the girls' room, and the boys' room. Each room for the kids had 2 sets of bunk beds. All of that was great for like 2 seconds. More like the thought of having bunk beds and a bunch of kids in one room was great. The reality, much different. Getting the kids to bed at any hour was a nightmare. Bedtime was something I knew I was never going to miss. I have to go to the bathroom. I'm hungry. Can I get a drink? I didn't do my homework. Or, my favorite, I have a project due tomorrow and I need all this stuff. This one is touching me. That one is throwing stuff at me. It was a never-ending battle. We would yell from our room or go in there. You guys have school in the morning. And each one of them would yell back, we know. And then they went right back to their shenanigans. Every once in a while, my husband would have to use his, what Abigail, my daughter refers to as his 5-finger death punch voice, to shut him up. It did shut him up for a bit, and now I can't believe I'm saying this. But I miss all of that. I don't miss the excuses to get out of bed, or I do miss that. I don't miss the 5-finger death. Nope, I miss that too. I miss the muffled giggles coming from their rooms. Hearing the kids just talk. They were getting along at the time. The muffled singing the girls did. Those little things that drove me insane during bedtime, I now miss. Because I don't have to put anybody really to bed. So yeah, unless the grandbabies are over. And I always miss them. Even if they're at my house, I miss them when they're sleeping. I guess what I'm getting at with this entire episode is I'm wrong. I was wrong. For once, I will admit that I was wrong. I will assume it is because at the time I was sleep deprived, stressed out, and overwhelmed. So that is my reasoning. Everything I swore I would never miss, I miss badly now. Learn a lesson from my experience. Don't ever think you will never miss anything your children are currently doing. Because once your children move forward in life, you will find yourself missing every single thing they ever did, even if it made you want to scream or pull your hair out. Time is precious, and we don't know how much time we have left on this earth. If anything, write that shit down that they are doing, that you are thinking in your head, I swear I'm going to miss this, so that you don't forget it later on. Then one day, take that notebook out and use it to embarrass your children. That's what I'm doing right now. Oh, and they hate it / love it. So it is what it is. Thank you for tuning in and listening to me ramble today. If you haven't already, check out my Facebook page, Chaotic Harmony, and give it a like. Let me know what you might not miss. And once you're done with all of that, can you do me one more favor? Maybe this world a favor, actually. And embrace the weird. And make normal feel boring. Bye.